Okay, so this week's show is going to be a little bit different. As some of you know, Dan and I went to the NEC running show last week and met thousands of amazing runners. So rather than film a typical topic this week, we thought we'll put together the best questions that we heard from the show and share the answers with you all. We talked about fueling, nutrition, how high heart rate can be managed in different zones, how to suffer and does that make you faster? Do you need orthopaedics insoles to make all your running shoes feel better? Lots of interesting stuff, lots to dive into, so it's a little bit different and we really hope you enjoy this week's show.
We're at the Run Show with Nicholas Drabs. Nick has a really big challenge this year. Nick is actually doing a really long race called Race to the Stones.
I'm part of their Legends team, which is about 8 to 10 athletes.
You are a bit of a legend, Nick. But you do have some expectations for it, don't you?
I wanted to break the 100k race record.
So there you go, guys. You've heard it. Nick Drabs is going to break the 100k race record for Race to the Stones. It's a case of if you say it, it's got to happen, right?
Yeah, but if I don't, then it'll be down to the coach, I think. So,
first thing I'm going to ask is, with electrolytes and other bits and pieces like that, I've read a few things recently that said, like, it's up for debate how much we actually need it all. I would love to know what your thoughts are on that.
So I literally had this conversation with someone earlier, and there is a slight placebo effect.
Sure.
And actually, so there's a lot of content out there that says a lot of things about it, with maybe not the science to back it, in terms of, there's all sorts, that you physically need electrolytes to, like, actually function.
Yeah.
I mean, we've only been drinking these electrolytes for what? 10 years maybe?
Yeah.
People have been running marathons for a long time.
Sure.
So yes, I think they optimise things, but are they essential? Do we know what each person's salt intake is? Do we know what else is in these electrolytes half the time? Don't know. So yeah, I think you're probably right. I think there's probably a little bit of smoke and mirrors to some of it to sell their products.
Yeah. Like, I feel as though I don't feel comfortable going to like an actual race day now without one, But like you say, how much are they doing? I don't know. Maybe it's more up here.
I mean, if there's anything placebo that makes you run faster, is it bad, I guess? They aid you to feel more hydrated, and I think they do play a part. Like, if your sodium imbalance does come out, then yeah, but you haven't got like a monitor on the whole time to say you are this much down. And even if you go and get a sweat test, you don't necessarily know how much sodium's in your body pre-race. So like, you might be taking them in the race, but actually you don't know really what your level was before you raced. So you might know what you're losing, but what was it before the race? So you're taking these electrolytes before the race as well. I mean, you go to a marathon and you go to the expo, probably even today there are people walking around drinking electrolytes because they want to stay hydrated. Natural water would probably do just that job, but it didn't cost £2.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Can I just ask one other thing? Just while we're on the debate of worth it or not, like overrated or underrated, just one more. Like, 'cause I'm debating orthopaedic soles. Now, I'm only just saying this because I like things like shin splints and other bits and pieces like that from, like, I don't know whether it's overrunning. A lot of the time it can just be too much too quickly. But, is that sort of thing, from what you would speak to, like, your clients or anyone like that, worth it?
Do you use them yourself?
I haven't broke into it. The electrolyte things, I'm hooked. So I can't go back now. But the other things, maybe.
Straight to Pure Sports next, yeah?
I think I've already been.
Orthotics is I think it's really important to feel comfortable in your shoes, and obviously every shoe that you buy is not designed for you. So it's impossible to know which shoe is going to work properly, whereas you could get printed orthotics and that would allow you to make every shoe personalised to you, but I'm not sure you need to have them aggressive. I don't love them when it stops people pronating, because it's your natural gait or your natural pronation, we all run differently.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other thing I was going to even ask you about as well. Like with gait tests, once you know that, like, you don't want to change your natural running stance.
There's lots of different things. Like, yes, if it's causing you an injury, then yes, you may need to investigate it. But you can look at some of the world's best runners, and they have horrendous pronation, and they run like 2:06 marathons. So
Life's not fair like that, yeah.
So I feel like a lot of the time it's load, and is your load out of balance where you're trying to do a lot and then you get an injury, so you go to a physio and your physio says, oh, you're pronating, so that's giving you this. Well, actually it was probably the load. And yes, pronation, but as you become a stronger runner, I've coached people who've become stronger and then they literally stop pronating as much, because their body is then strong enough, their glutes are firing a bit more, everything's a bit more stable, so they move forwards quicker and it highlights it less.
Yeah. So actually, there's maybe better ways of, if there's injuries there, rather than just going for some quick fix, just buying a one-size-fits-all sole, maybe there's other ways.
It works for some. I would say investigate what's out there before you jump on orthotics, because they cost a lot of money as well.
Yeah, they're not cheap. Yeah. All right. Cheers. Thanks, Coach Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
I've got a lot of experience of running. I've run lots of marathons. I've done lots of half Ironman events, and I've done a full Ironman. I'm really competitive, but I've never had a coach. This year, it's a big year for me. I'm 60, and I wanted to choose something a bit special, a bit different. My family has connections to Norway, so I'm going to do the Tromsø Midnight Sun Marathon, which starts at 8:30 at night. And I'd like to do well in my age group. I'm a fitness instructor. I've never had a coach. What can a coach offer me, and how can a coach help me with this?
One thing, what time are your classes up, by the way?
I do some in the evening.
So it's a head thing.
Yeah,
We race
okay.
every morning, but actually, you got to be ready to go for those classes. You can't walk in half asleep. So I think you're probably more prepared than most people. So not that someone like yourself needs accountability, but when you've got someone watching, it's very different. I think that's why Strava is a bit of a thing for some people, because they know the outside world is watching what they do. So that's why everyone runs too fast. Sometimes when you're feeling a little bit tired and you'll just go, that's enough for today. But you probably could have done more. My coaching's not a dictatorship. I don't dictate to you. I don't say do this or else. It's education. So we're doing this because of this. Asking questions is really important. So that what you're doing is going to benefit you at this point in the race and why.
Yeah, it's the insight and looking at things out of the box, looking at it from a different angle. Because I've done it, I've ran for 30 years. I need somebody to say, oh, why don't you try this?
Yeah.
So brilliant. No more questions at the moment, but I'm sure there will be more. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to having you as a coach, Dan.
Thank you.
So we're now back in the studio, and we've got a few questions that are very kindly left by visitors of our stand at the NEC Run Show. And Dan's going to answer them for you live in the studio.
I am.
So, question number 1.
So my question is, if you were to start from scratch on every element of the Ironman to swim, cycle and run, which one would you have to put the most effort in to get it to the best standard?
So 3 sports. I would say the bike is probably the place you can make the most ground on, because it's the longest part of a triathlon. However, that's quite a classic answer, because it's the longest distance.
180k versus 4 and 42.
Yes. However, I do generally think the run is just completely underestimated.
Do you think the best people in the field, the winners, are the best runners?
A lot of the time, yeah. It's the one you need the longest to work on, because it's obviously the place that more injuries might come, because you're putting in speed work, whereas there's a high possibility that from swimming and cycling, this is obviously, it's not gospel, but you're going to reduce your injury chances by significant amounts. I don't know the last time someone really got injured from cycling too much. Like, it can happen, but we're talking a lot. But running, how many times do you hear about runners getting injured? So
yeah.
It's a lot. So it's the one you need to work on the most by being smart to be great at it.
So you got a 2-pronged answer there.
Yeah.
The bike, if you're a novice, because it's the biggest distance.
Yeah.
But the running, because you need to be safe and secure.
Yeah. There you go.
Good answer, Dan. Thank you.
As a pro coach, what would you recommend for a runner who's gone on a long run and is suffering from knee pain? What would you recommend for recovery and prevention of injury?
Recovery from a long run, if you've got a little bit of a knee pain, requires, 1, potentially a physio. 2, maybe a massage. To stop knee pains, normally, it's overload. Whether that's
speed of you picking up your mileage, maybe?
Maybe it's just overload, it's frequency, it's use. So it could be you're under fueling, it could be you're running too far, too quickly. not too quickly, too far, too soon. You're running too quickly, too far.
Yeah.
You're running too frequently for what your body can hold, or your lack of recovery is clear. You know, your nutrition's not very good, your hydration's not very good. You know, like people think that injuries just come because your muscles are tired. But how do your muscles become tired?
They're not nutrient dense.
Yeah, literally. Like
Yeah.
like females classically get REDS. REDS is like basically energy deficiency. That then causes injury. So REDS is caused by lack of food a lot of the time, or it's such a loop. It's such a loop. You know, you're not recovering because your load's too high, but your load's too high because of what? Well, you want to do a lot of training, but if you support that training from good eat, good sleep, and good nutrition, it won't be that bad. It depends what you're trying to achieve, but effectively, a lot of the time, it's just self-love. And that requires more than just the running. You know, the best plan is only good if you surround it with everything you need.
So in summary, you might be growing your sort of distances too quickly, but have a quick look at your hydration and nutrition balance.
Go back to our episode on pillars of... basically pillars of performance.
Yes.
Remember that episode?
Yes.
Yeah, early on. Well, like maybe episode like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, actually, what we prescribe is listen to every single episode. But there is genuine value in kind of coming on this journey with us and listening to it all.
Yeah.
Because it all matters.
Yep.
Question number 3. Chloe, thanks for coming on to the stand. You've got a question for Coach Dan. The stage is yours.
Hi, Dan. I was just wondering, how do you get your speed up when you're running? Because I find that the more I run, the faster I get, which don't really make sense. So if I run like 3 times a week, for example, when I do my park run, I'll be faster. But if I only run once a week, then I'm not as fast. So what is that like scientifically? What does that even mean?
So it sounds like when you do more volume, you get faster.
Yeah. But even though you think that your muscles are going to get more tired, what is that?
So we'll pose that to Dan and ask him about how the distance and the frequency cause the adaptation and make you faster, and we'll tag you in the response.
I thought you summarised that quite well, Brad, with the live response. Adaptation. So I would say that your body likes frequency. So she made a reference to running once a week. Let's just take an example. She runs on Sunday as her last run. The next time she runs is Friday. It's 4 days with 0 running. Your body's going to run and think, oh, this is new.
No, she wasn't ready.
I haven't done this before.
Wonder if she did any warming up as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it could just be straight out the door.
Any kind of mobility stretching.
And then she made a reference to running 3 times a week. You'd arguably say that maybe she ran Monday, Wednesday and Saturday. So she's literally teeing herself up for like progression almost that week. And I know she made a reference to being tired, but 3 times a week is not a lot of running.
No.
It can be for people, I understand that. But it's not. Every other day is a great... I mean, if people ran every other day for their whole life, they would be in great shape. Because it'd be run, rest, run, rest, run, rest. But as people have proven over the years that your body enjoys frequency, it enjoys knowing what you're doing. You know, ligaments and tendons literally respond to frequency. They don't like inactivity. As you get older, inactivity is worse. So your body enjoys being like activated, stimulated each day. So that's why when you get older, you almost need to take less rest days and not more.
Interesting. Okay, so top tip from Coach Dan, stay active, do as much as you can, listen to your body and adapt.
There you go.
Hello everybody, my name is Jack and I'm here talking to Coach Dan.
I have a question on calories and how to calculate how many calories I'm meant to be doing. So I'm currently training for Ironman and my training plan is varying throughout the days. I'm currently using my Garmin projected total as a kind of guide onto what to have. But I think for the first couple of weeks I was under fueling because I was feeling terrible. So I started flipping it the other side, and I just wondered if you got any knowledge on that.
Do you know what? It's a really good question. Yeah. We've spoke about this, haven't we, before, Brad? And Brad swears, here's Brad. Brad swears by his Garmin. It's a Garmin.
Garmin's a liar.
Oh, Garmin's
the
a liar.
Garmin will underfuel you.
Underfuel.
So Garmin's a liar, and what did you say hits you every time? You said one was good. You said Apple. So Apple's metrics are good, but Garmin underfuels you. Now it might be because Garmin then has your heart rate data, it has your speed, it has your power, so it almost has too many things. So it might have too much information, or it could be that you've maybe put some information in wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be. I don't know. You'll have to go into your settings and have a look. I would say sticking with a metric is really important. Yeah. But you probably use Training Peaks, don't you?
I use Training Peaks.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you ever use the kCals on that?
No, because I'm on the cheapy freebie.
Okay, that's right.
But there is a chance that I need to pay.
But I do believe it tells you after every session it has on the kCals you burn.
Okay.
So that I know is a better one.
Okay.
There are algorithms you can use based on your body weight.
Yeah.
It depends on what you set your metabolic rate at. That's a big one because Garmin, I think you might even have to set a metabolic rate in there, and you've got to be careful about setting under, over, or staying the same. Now, if you put stay the same, there's a chance you will never get better.
Yeah.
Because if you think about anything, if you stay the same, you're just staying the same. You're maintaining it. So if you want to get better, you need to actually have more calories to gain more power, to be rested, to recover well. And as your training picks up, because obviously I'm guessing it's going to get more, there's a chance that you need to almost like set for that now. Like we had a nutritional expert on, and they said trying to balance your calories is good, but eating too many is bad, and underfueling is horrendous.
I've heard underfueling is like...
It's like a big no.
Do not do that.
But it doesn't happen overnight as well. It's something that happens over time, so it will slowly deteriorate you. So if anything, I'd say you'd be safer to go over on what they say. Try not to be under and be a little bit over.
And does it matter? I mean, calories are calories, but if I'm eating 100 cream eggs, that's obviously way away from what I'm actually doing. But is it better to have a salad than a cream egg? Or is calories?
I mean, there ain't a lot of carbs in the salad, but there is in a cream egg, so it depends what your session is.
So what we're saying is, cream eggs are a go.
Cream eggs, 100 cream eggs a day.
Yeah,
no,
perfect.
it's just finding that nutrients are better. So whole foods are great, but there's definitely a place for a cream egg.
So my question is, would you recommend doing a full marathon, a high rocks, and a 70.3 in 1 year? And how would you maximise recovery in that?
Well, we sell some really good protein coffee, Brad does, which is really good. I already know the answer to this because I know which ones you're doing, and what's good about your events is there's a lot of time between them. So as long as you've got realistic expectations and you don't want to necessarily optimize them in terms of like you're gunning for a goal, because the training is very different between a marathon, a high rocks, and then a 70.3.
You mean I'm not going to win?
I mean, we're not saying you won't win, but we're saying the chances are they're slimmer if you want to do all three through the year. I mean, there's probably 6 months between the marathon and the end. Yeah, so that's... Some people would need 6 months just to train for the 70.3 alone, without a high rocks in the middle.
Okay.
So I would say that it's definitely doable, and I know you're already quite an accomplished athlete.
Oh,
so it's something.
I'll take that.
So it's something that you definitely have done before. So that helps you a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
And what's the run club you guys run for?
She Strides.
She Strides.
Yep.
And where can you find them?
We're in the south of England.
Okay.
And we're just about to open our 10th location.
10th location?
10th.
Where's that?
Sandhurst.
Sandhurst.
Yeah,
okay.
very close to Camberley.
Yeah. Okay. Get yourselves down there then.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
How much of my progress is actually fitness, and how much is just me getting better at tolerating discomfort?
Now, that depends on your metrics. Depends on your speed, your heart rate, power, whatever it is you're measuring. If your heart rate comes down for certain paces, then yes, you're getting better. So I don't know, let's just take you run a 5-minute K when you start and it's 150. 2 months later you run a 5-minute K pace and it's 130, then yeah, you're improving. But if your heart rate's going up for the same pace, or you're not really getting much faster, you're learning to suffer more. I'd say it probably works more at the top end paces. To be fair, there is a bit of an element of if you can suffer, you will go faster. So you want to see a bit of both. Depends on your distance, because suffering for a marathon is hard, but suffering for a 5K is a bit easier. And you've kind of got to have, you've got to suffer a little bit for a 5K. Yes, you have to. It all depends on your goal, but looking at your metrics is what's most important, I'd say. Yeah. Is that fair?
Yeah. So, you've talked a lot about race nutrition.
I have.
What's your go-to pre and post race meal? Yeah.
Yeah, very good question. It has changed over the years, and it changes where I am.
Yeah.
So I think you need one for like being at home and being away. So when I'm away, controversial or not, but I'll always have 2 croissants before a race. So I'll have 2 croissants and a coffee, and then a gel like 15 minutes before a race. But if I'm at home, it's a little bit controversial, but I'll have oats with just a little bit of milk.
Yeah.
But overnight oats, so they like soak.
How do you do that?
Yeah, but just plain. No, it's just plain oats. But it's racing. So because it's like, I wouldn't normally do that, but you've trained all those hours, so you don't want to mess it up.
Do you add any toppings?
No, nothing. Just literally overnight oats, but just oats and milk.
Okay.
Simple as better. Post, you said post. During is PH, always have PH. Just, I'm sure they'll love me for saying that, not that I get any kickback from it.
No.
Post, I don't really have I'm just like, whatever.
It's not like a go-to meal.
No, I'm not. Yeah, like I used to kind of have like, it was always a pizza or something.
Okay.
But no, now I'm just like, maybe because I race too much.
So if you take your pizza, what's the go-to pizza?
My go-to pizza, I like loads of meat.
Okay.
Loads of meat, not very spicy, but just like a meat feast.
How do I have a coffee half an hour before I run and not need the toilet on my long run?
Decaf? Personally, I've been there, and I know what you're alluding to, and a lot of people do. No, it's definitely easier for a male. One thing would be plan your route. So if you feel like you haven't got an opportunity, so I'll always have a coffee about 90 minutes before, so I get to use the bathroom before I get to go out, and I don't have to go anywhere wild. Potentially plan your route knowing that something is on the way 30 minutes away. It's about an hour. I'd say it's about 60 minutes. So like the acidity of a coffee gets into your stomach and changes the acidity, and that's why I normally need to go to the loo. Some people use Imodium, genuinely. So you can pop a couple of Imodium, then have your coffee. I haven't tried it, so I don't know but I know people who literally swear by it, even the night before. So it starts that like process of not going to the loo, and then you just have a coffee after, and then naturally go to the toilet. So that's one. So Imodium. It's not like scientifically, it's not great doing that, but it works. Yeah. Oh yeah, literally. Yeah. So that would be a really surefire way. Imodium or a route, or just give yourself a bit more time.
I feel like my training is 10 times better if I'm having a coffee first.
Well, too much caffeine was actually on the banned list one time. So it used to be on the banned list. Yeah, because it is performance enhancing. I mean, caffeine, bicarb, and creatine are probably 3 of the most tested studies in like undergrads for stimuluses in training improvements in performance. So coffee is like literally perfect. Like the more you can tolerate, the better. Like up to 200 milligrams is like, or more, depends on your body weight really. It's a ratio you can use. Yeah, thank you very much.
Do you think when training less is more, when you listen and talk, listen on Instagram and you see all the pros in that, they're like, oh yeah, we do 35 hours. And Alistair Brownlee famously in a podcast with that moron from Made in Chelsea.
Yes.
The one
Spencer Matthews.
Yes, Spencer Matthews talked about how like he trained 35 hours, which to be fair is pretty impressive, but do you need to do that to be at a good competitive age group level? Because let's be honest, I'm a teacher. There's no chance of that ever happening. And also I'm 36 and basically old. So, and I've got 3 kids, yeah.
Do you know what? It's a really, really good question. I talked to Brad about it. I talked to a few other people about it. And it's happening a lot in the running world, if anything. Like, there's a guy called Run to Japan. Is it Instagram? I don't know if you've ever seen that. He runs 250k a week. Yeah, instant reaction is like, how? And if you do that much volume, you almost force adaptation. You know, you can't run 250k and not be aerobic. So, and you know, he's not just running 250k to the point where he's not just running miles. You know, there's obviously sessions in there. There's a few sessions a week in that. Now, if you have the time and you can do it, then yeah, you can do it. And he believes that that's the way you should do it. 35 hours a week, Alistair Brownlee. I mean, the problem is he was 2-time Olympic gold medalist. But as soon as he then turned that into long course, he would break down. So it's not something he could do for a long time. And maybe he took that I need to do more approach in. But he openly admits that actually if he didn't train as hard sometimes, he might have got better results. He's quite open about that. I've heard him a few times say it. He said, yeah, but it's just my style and I'm never not going to do it. The argument of doing more is you need a certain level of aerobic capacity, and as a pro you've got lots of time to do it. As an age grouper, depends on your goal, depends on what you're trying to achieve, but you need to be more time efficient. So effectively, you cannot get better at sport without doing the work. So we take out the volume and do more work. That's probably not quite the case, but we concentrate on the work and make sure that it's quality. So we don't need the extra miles that make you more aerobic. So we've got, so we do the speed, etc. So we just don't have such an aerobic capacity. So then we can't sustain. So let's say you do your work, you can do, I don't know, a 10k at, I don't know, so say 31 minutes for 10k. It's very fast, but now without you fade off because your aerobic capacity can't support the speed for long enough. If you're a pro and you do 30 hours a week, you can sustain that for a half marathon. Because of their aerobic capacity is so big, their glycolytic system is so good, they can flush the lactate out because they're so strong and they get so many miles. So, yeah, you do need it, but it's hard to achieve with a job and 3 kids and everything. So, yeah, so we can do it, but for shorter periods. So we kind of can do it, but just not for the whole time. Is that...
So what would you say separates a good athlete from a great athlete? What's that little 1% that you go, yeah, this guy's got it, or this girl's got it?
Is that from a coaching point of view, or is that from a performance point of view?
I'd say obviously from a coaching point of view, because that's sort of the field you are in, but in terms of actual athletic performance, what separates that from, you're all right, to actually, you've got something great? And there's a second question that I do want to come onto in a bit that will link into this quite nicely.
So let's just say you come on board and I go, okay, for the first week I'm going to put some sessions in. I just want you to do them naturally. I'm not going to give you any perceived, you just got to do it on what you see the session as and your perceived effort of that session. So someone goes away, cracks on, does it. They do a long run, a short run, some efforts in that. And then you're looking at what their heart rate's doing. So someone's heart rate will be I don't know, let's say it's 130 and they're doing 4-minute Ks. And you're like, whoa, this guy's good. And I haven't told him to do anything. I haven't told him to do anything silly. I haven't told him anything different. I just said, go and do what you normally do. Something's going on. Something's going on. And they're like, yeah, no, that's just what I normally do. That's just what I do my chilled runs in. And then you're like, this kid's good. This person's good. Yeah.
And my second question, so when you start working with people, is there a certain characteristic that you see in someone and you go, I'm really excited to work with you?
Yeah, someone who asks questions, but the right amount of questions. Because you can ask a lot of questions, which is good, and it happens at the start, which is really important. Like anything in life, you need to ask questions, don't you? Always fear someone that doesn't like you asking a question because they don't really understand.
I really have no idea what the I'm doing.
Nice that they ask questions, kind of like this. If someone wants to sit down and ask a question, then I've got no problem. Yeah, absolutely. So they ask the right amount of questions. So they ask a question, they take the information on, and then they move forwards with it, and they apply it.
I suppose, is that not what life's all really about, is listening and learning and taking it into our own sort of perspective in our own life? I suppose it's better to ask 5 decent questions that makes you think, makes you change, makes you improve, rather than just cluttering 15, 20 questions. You're going, Are you actually taking any of this in, or are you just spouting a load of rubbish, right?
Yeah, I mean, and obviously this is preloaded, but obviously going back to your podcast, because I know this information, but that's exactly the same as you got to overcome adversity, you got to listen. And it's hard to make someone listen, isn't it? Like, you must see that. I mean, you've probably got an example that you can give me now, but like, you've got to be open to change, haven't you?
Absolutely. I mean, we're all on this journey for a reason, and we do what we do. We all have a why, right? I'm sure if I asked you what is your why, you would have a reason to give. You know, I've got my why. I know what that is. There's that age-old saying of you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? And I mean, that applies to a lot of principles in life.
Yeah. I'd say that applies to most. Yeah, definitely. No, sound mate.
So instead of starting slowly and building up, I know you need to train your heart and your lungs and your muscles, but I've always been curious whether you can actually start at a fast speed and then maybe build onto that.
Let me get this right. In terms of, let's say you want to do your half marathon at 10 minute miling, yeah. But you know that at the start, if you're just coming back into running, you know that's probably going to make your heart rate go a little bit high. But can you almost start at that because that's your aspirational pace, and will your body adapt to it? Do you know what? It's actually, I call it brute force training.
Yes.
So it can be done, but it definitely hurts, and it can then potentially end up in injury. Because I almost like imagine you're like a kettle. So like every time you run, let's say you run 2 miles, you know, you put the kettle on and it goes to a certain point, but doesn't quite boil. But you're not quite, you know, and then you run 5 miles and it gets half to boil, but then you run 10 miles at that pace, and then the kettle boils, and that might be something in your body that maybe gives way, ligaments, tendons, muscles. In the kettle's like your heart rate, so it's going up. And if you start out and maybe your heart rate's, I don't know, 160, and then it's only going to rise, it's called cardiac drift. It kind of drifts as the run goes on. So you might get away with it for the shorter runs, but then when you get up to doing 10 miles...
So on the interval ones, maybe,
yes,
then you could work on purely setting off at that pace.
Yes.
And then do a slow bit or a walk.
Bingo.
And then build up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a naturally high heart rate. My heart rate at resting is about 90.
Whoa.
Yes. Always been like that. I did a 3K the other day and my heart rate peaked to 204. I felt fine, but I stopped, and then I did the same 3K and monitored my heart rate on Garmin and got it down to like an average of like 170. But how can I do that without constantly having to look at my watch so I'm stop-starting?
Do you use a heart rate monitor?
Just Garmin.
Get a heart rate monitor. Way more accurate. Definitely do that. Coros are really good, and they link to Garmin. Okay, so Coros. COROS. Very good. When it went down to 170, what was different?
I just slowed down my pace.
That's kind of the deal. So, if you were to get an arm one, there's a high possibility it might even be 10 beats lower than that. Like, I have seen all sorts of different variations with wrist heart rates compared to arms and straps. Massive. 15 beats sometimes. And that would then put you into a much better place. So what you need to do is get that, then test it,
right, and
then find what pace it is, but also what feel it is. And then it'll be, oh, this feels like that. And then you won't have to check as much. That's what I would say. But truthfully, it is a case of slowing down. Obviously, for me, I say to Brad, like a 140, 145 is what you sort of see a zone 2 run. Yours is going to be higher, but you need to find where that is. Yeah, and they call it like conversational pace. So it's like this, we should be able to have a chat. Then like a tempo pace is where you can get a couple of sentences out and you need to take a breath. So that's another sign that you're maybe going too fast. So there's a few things you can do, but I would genuinely go heart rate monitor, find that pace that's conversational. Then it could be hopefully like 160. That'd be great from 200. I mean, that would be more sustainable.
Yeah.
But then that's about where, you know, if it's 90, I mean, you've got some, you know, yes.
That's the thing, because I know that my like baseline is high already. It's how much is it going to go up that's going to be safe and maintainable, basically.
Yeah. So that's it. I'd go with that, and I'd get some metrics, and actually, I think it's important because you don't want to be doing yourself any injustice and killing yourself off, especially if you're coming back from surgery and things. So it's spend that time to find out what that is going to be. Yeah, because it isn't just a 145 internet average or my because your max heart rate will be really high, probably. Very hot, yeah. But then you shouldn't use that as a guide.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you don't want to be there because it's dangerous. So yeah.
Do you have any tips for doing a sub 20 by the end of the year for a 5k?
So you just told me that you do 24 minutes. So give me a little bit of information. How many times a week do you run, and what do you sort of normally do?
So normally I run a 5k on a Saturday, and sometimes I do a 2.5k on a Sunday. I also go track on Tuesdays.
So on the Tuesdays at track, when you're running round, what do you think about, or what do you look at to know your pace? Is there anything?
Sometimes I bring my watch with me and set it on track mode, and then I can see like how many laps I've done.
So when you are doing track and you're looking down and you've got the time on there, it tells you average pace. So do you know what average pace you need to run for a sub 20?
No.
Brad, what pace do we have to run for a sub 20?
For a sub 20, anything under 4 minutes.
So when you're running around, you need to think, I've got to do my reps at 3:59 a K pace. So that means I'm running at the pace that I need to run at. So if you're doing 400 metres or 200 metres, try and aim for everything at faster than that pace. And that means you'll eventually be able to hold it for 5k. Does that make sense? Is that fair? Yeah? Good? Any more questions?
No.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
The question I'm going to ask you, Dan, is what's your opinion on lactate supplements to improve your running? I know you've got a bit of opinion on this, so I'd quite like to hear it live, if we're saying.
So, it depends how controversial I want to be. So, truthfully, for people like yourself, so Charlie, just tell them how what your 10k PB is.
10k PB is 30:04, and so that's the magic barrier is close to there, not quite yet, but that's what I'm looking at.
So, some people's PBs are great, but they're maybe not quite as speedy as that. It's a very impressive time. So for people like yourself who already train a lot, hard, we're doing everything, we're doing lactate testing, we're doing lots of miles, 80 plus miles a week. If you're working K, work it out, it's a lot. So you're already at like the peak of the sport. So lactate buffers for yourself are really important. I think they're really good. I actually don't discourage you from taking them. I just say, try it. Nitrates, great. Open blood vessels, brilliant. Bicarb, be careful, great, good stuff. What else can we talk? Cherry juice, brilliant. It's got studied. Go for it. New one, Plasmade. I definitely have to give you some of that. I've got some. You're going to have to try that. Plasmade, proven. Christian Blumenfeld's obviously just broke the VO2 max record. Now, I do have a theory on that because he has dropped a little weight, so that's going to help his VO2 max go up. So it might be the same, but drop some weight. But they use Plasmade. Well, they claim to use Plasmade. So that's something you can try. It tastes terrible, but it's a pine bark extract. But that's something. So before sessions you can use it, and before races. So that's enough. But I don't know where you've got space in your pre-race.
There's a few things I take.
What are we calling it? Pre-race. Mixture. Yeah. So, but for at the top end, yes. For people who are not running as fast as that, and I don't know where the cut-off really is, maybe like 40 minutes and above. They're not useless, but there is a lot more ground to be made up in the training. And that's really important. So don't maybe mess your day up by taking too many nitrates or too much bicarb. And and you may ruin your day, you're better off just putting in some good work, and you'll make the ground up by your weekly mileage and things. So, yeah, hopefully that's probably about right. But it's a great question, though. Good question. Good question.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you stayed to the end, hope you got lots of value. We're back to our normal schedule next week with another hot topic. We'll see you then.